Hi, Jules.
Hi, Sasa. How are you?
Good. I'm so excited to kick off our very first bi-weekly episode.
You know, it's so funny doing this remotely because we're usually always together. I miss you.
I miss you so much.
But we're super excited about just kind of introducing this new format. I think there's just so much going on in beauty altogether. So we got to do it twice a week, right?
Girl, I know. Our chat between the two of us just explodes so much. I'm so excited.
Welcome to GlowJob, the beauty podcast that's more than skin deep. We're the only podcast
To make you hotter and smarter.
All right, so today we are going to be talking about all of the recent kind of beauty news, beauty drama, because it's been crazy lately.
Yeah, drama with a capital D because there are so many things going on. What are we going to start with? Youthforia?
Oh, 100% Youthforia. So with this one, I think everybody kind of saw the Youthforia closing coming, right? I've been noticing they're no longer in a lot of their retailers, but earlier the founder went to Instagram and shared a little thing from her notes app talking about how the brand is closing and how they're kind of going out with this big bang 50% off sale. Also, it was all over their website. I don't know. What's your take?
Oh, again, we all saw it coming, right? I think the fact that it's also happening amid this beauty slowdown in the industry. I had a friend ask me recently, why are there so many brands that are shutting their doors right now? And I was explaining, we experienced peak big beauty, kind of pre-COVID, and especially during COVID. I mean, it makes sense. The margins are high. The whole industry has become very competitive, super saturated. But overall, people are spending, unfortunately, a little bit less compared to previous peak years. But I think when it comes to Youthforia, when you make the same mistake twice, you really got to ask yourself, what the fuck were you doing? Were you not listening?
It was so crazy. And we talked about this in one of our first episodes because we were just so excited to talk about the drama. But to fill everybody in, Youthforia is a makeup brand kind of founded on the premise that makeup should be good enough to sleep in. What a great idea, right? They went on Shark Tank, got some money from Mark Cuban, launched in 2021. And then in 2024, they released a foundation range. And immediately it was met with pushback saying there's not enough shade diversity. There aren't enough deeper foundation tones. And then the team's response was to release again with one shade that was basically entirely black, jet black. And there was such negative backlash. And I think the brand was just never able to recover after that.
Yeah, I think what really catapulted them into notoriety was that one influencer. Was it Gloria?
Gloria.
Yeah. And so she was testing the darkest shade on her skin. And, she has very melanin-rich skin. And she put the foundation on one side. And I think, didn't she put black paint on the other?
Yeah, just straight up face paint.
Yeah, literally. And when you look at that foundation next to the black paint, they basically look identical. There is no human has that skin color.
Yeah. And, the brand, they tried to say this wasn't an actual foundation. We just released it to show that we can do, diversity and come out with the blackest or the darkest shade possible. But I think they would have given them one chance to fix it. But clearly they were given two chances, right? They re-released it and they still just ate shit. It was so bad.
In one part of my brain is I feel for indie brands or smaller beauty brands when they are deciding to do something like foundation. Oh, it's hard because especially if you're selling foundation in the US, we live in a diverse country, you have to have a lot of different shades. And quite frankly, producing that many ranges of colors is so expensive for a small brand. And so in some sense, I understand releasing a limited range. There's pros and cons to that. But they got the feedback. Their customer asked for more range of colors. And then I remember reading, she said that what would have taken them about 12 months to produce the extended range, they condensed it to 4 months. And she was trying to say that as if we were really listening to you guys. We really tried to push out new colors, blah, 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 blah.
Working around the clock.
Yeah. But it seems like they obviously cut some corners. And I don't know. At that point, it's like, if you really want to do right, take the goddamn time. Do not rush for a half-assed product.
And I think other brand founders like found themselves in like similar situations. Patrick Ta, for example, with the same influencer actually, with Gloria. And he went in and just did it beautifully and really just made sure that he took the time, made the personal effort and made a personal interaction just to kind of show that, you know, he was distraught that he messed up so badly and just really did everything he could to fix it. But, you know, it was interesting when you were talking about like all of the other brands that were closing, because it's been Youthforia, it's been Ami Colé and Juice Beauty. Am I missing any?
And then also there was Ren Skincare and SBLA, which was tied to Christy Brinkley. They filed for Chapter 11, so for bankruptcy. They're not totally dead just yet, but kind of on the way out.
I mean, it's definitely a sign, right? But, you know, like after that whole fiasco, I think Youthforia, the first thing that we saw happen was like major online and in-person retailers just totally severed ties with them. So we're talking Credo, of course, because like Credo, I think puts a lot of emphasis on like social issues, right? Like they're a clean line, but also like a consciously clean line. So it was them, Revolve dropped them, Ulta dropped them. It was just like one after the other. But, you know, you can't blame them.
I know.
Even in the comment section of the founder, her name is Fiona. So in the comment section of her Instagram post, it was kind of like 50-50, at least at the point in time when I was reading it. But like 50% was like, oh, you'll be missed. You made such great products. But the other 50% was like, it's about damn time. We all saw this coming. Like they had no sympathy.
Wow. I feel like it's just another added layer of complexity for beauty founders and beauty brands. It's not just like a product that you're selling. You also are semi-responsible to the community that you're catering to. And sometimes, you know what I find funny is like some of the people that comment stuff on these sorts of, you know, dramatic issues, they don't even buy the product themselves, but they're just trying to get in on the drama, right?
You know, I felt for the founder, like, I guess like hot take, but, you know, being East Asian, anytime I see like an Asian person fail or flop or do anything bad, like kind of hurts me a little bit. So like we got to support the people. But, you know, at the same time, like cancel culture is awful. And I think it was like, that was like an example of like peak cancel culture moments, because like even after she did that, she tried to apologize again and again and again. But like, I don't know, like I don't think she was racist, right?
I hope not.
I mean, I hope not too. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt there, but like I really don't think she was. But I don't know. I think brands are still popping up left and right though.
There are lots of brands popping up left and right. But one thing I wanted to get back to was like, you know, the apology part. It's not, like you said, this is not the first time something like this has happened. Patrick Ta, great example of something that, and he rebounded, handled that well. I also think of, you know, Tower 28's latest sunscreen that did not land. You cannot call something no white cast if it causes a white cast on dark colored skin. You know, I think they're coming out of the clear there, but there is a tactful way to address these things. And again, I think I have to just hark back on the fact that, look, if you made one mistake one time, no big deal. We all make mistakes. You can learn and come back. But 2 times, that's kind of cutting it.
I know. It's like, it's hard to have sympathy, like, especially when she was given like such an amazing second chance, right? You know, like she said that the deeper shades out to like so many influencers, like Black influencers, right? Like being like, oh, I got it right this time. Please check it out. And they did, you know, they tried it. They gave her a second chance, but like clearly, oh my God, they dropped the ball, because they had some good products, like really viral hits, right?
I never actually tried any of their products, but you know, I've seen them around. Like obviously I'd seen her in Shark Tank, found her very charming. I thought she had a great pitch. But one more thing on like sending all the darker shades to the influencers. This is where I'm like, I think I'm catching you in a lie here, because if you said it's not really meant to be a foundation color and it was just supposed to show that you could do more range, then why the fuck would you send it to all the influencers who are going to test it and put it online?
It's crazy. It's actually crazy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up, we need to talk about Skims and their quote unquote new face innovation. What?
Oh my God.
I had so much fun with this one. I was just like, what kind of bullshittery is this?
It is crazy. And the crazier thing is that they are entirely sold out.
Girl, I can't even get started. But for background for everyone, if you are not aware of the Skims new face innovation, basically they dropped last week. It is essentially, I'm not even sure how you would call this, but it's like a face sort of like contour bandage thing. This is not a new sort of item. This is often
shapewear
seen
for your face, right?
Exactly. That's what they sell it as. But the real kicker here, and again, so this piece of spandex goes from the top of your head, wraps around your jawline, and snatches you under the chin. So presumably, when people market this product, they say it helps with jowls. It helps, kind of lift and tighten. And these are big air quotes I'm putting out there. But the kicker on their marketing of this brand new face product was that it was made with collagen fibers, and that the collagen fibers are going to go into your skin. And I have to go on a really quick rant here because collagen is a big ass molecule. It is so big that it is very difficult to even get through your skin. Actually, the fact that people try to sell like collagen supplements and collagen this, collagen that, it's not going to penetrate and go into your body. And
those don't do anything for the skin, right?
No, they don't. And so then if they're trying to say that a piece of fabric with collagen is going to enter your skin, just drives me nuts because that is not even possible.
No, it's such bullshit. And then I don't know. I think it's a huge problem. Like that's why I'm really critical of those like collagen overnight gel masks, right? Like, but people are crazy. I've literally seen hyaluronic acid infused pillowcases. Like that's not a thing. Just because you say it's a thing doesn't make it a thing. People need to realize that like they just think that like, oh, I want more collagen. I want my skin to produce more collagen. But any kind of skincare product with collagen in it, all that collagen is really doing, it's acting as a moisturizer. It's great for moisturizing, but it's not going to produce any kind of collagen.
Exactly. And the other thing is that, there are lots of skincare products that tout collagen production. And that's the thing that you guys have to remember is that, yes, there are lots of very efficacious ingredients that will encourage your body to produce more collagen. That is very different than slathering collagen on your face or ingesting it and thinking that means you just up your collagen levels, because that's just not how it works.
It's kind of ironic though, right? Like you can put collagen products on, no collagen gets produced, but it's the other ingredients. So it's like a growth factor can help produce collagen, retinols can help produce collagen. Those are what's going to actually make collagen. And I think people just don't realize that. They just see the word collagen and they're like, yes, me, I want some.
Yeah, it's not like protein. You can't just like keep consuming protein. And even that, like obviously there's like a maximum level of which you can actually consume it and does anything, but whole other story there.
But back to the Skims thing. So it's so crazy because like in theory, waist trainers and those kind of lifting masks, they will give you like a very temporary effect, right? The ones that she created, I think they're actually quite common with people who get things like facelifts or any type of like facial surgery, and the compression really helps to control swelling. But it's not being marketed as that, right? I hear that people are walking around the streets of New York, like the it girls in Soho. They are, wearing the Skims masks. And how much are they?
$48.
$48 fucking dollars. That's wild.
Okay, I just need to read the description here. Our first ever face innovation is here. This must-have face wrap boasts our signature sculpting fabric and features collagen yarns for ultra soft jaw support. Velcro closures at the top and nape of the neck allow for easy everyday wear.
I mean, I don't know who the fuck would wear that.
I don't know. Unless you got
a facelift. If you got a facelift, you should wear something like that. Maybe that's what Chris was using after her facelift surgery.
Oh, maybe she was testing the beta product out.
Right? I mean, it probably is helpful for that. But the thing that I also, it's not necessarily like a new product, right? Like I brought it with me just for receipts. But, Korea for the longest time has been selling these types of face masks here. And it's not exactly the same as the Skims. The Skims one like wraps over the head and back on the neck. But the thing is that these ones will actually give you some type of skincare benefits. Like they're still tight on the skin and they might have like some skincare ingredients, serums, right? Like sticky wet serums holding it in place. But even these to me are just incredibly gimmicky. They're fun, but they're so gimmicky.
Oh yeah. This is like all gimmick. And like the ones that you're talking about, right? Like they're actually more like a face mask, but just for your jawline with extra compression for sure. But this,
but you need it because of gravity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's going to fall off if it doesn't hook onto your ears like that one. I'm looking at this face mask, just more, what do they call it? Face wrap, excuse me. And again, so it Velcros at the top of your head. There are little slits on your ears, so your ears can pop out and you look like Dumbo. The only thing I can say that's positive is that they offer it in 2 colorways, which is clay, which is more of just like a very like light skin tone. And then they have cocoa, which is like a darker skin tone. But both of these models look batshit crazy.
I know, right? Like, I don't know how they kept a straight face during the photo shoot, but they're clearly selling. And I mean, her shapewear sells so well. I own some of the Skims shapewear, and it's funny because like clay is the same color of like the Skims Spanx that I have. So I think I don't know, are they just using extra fabric?
That's a good question. I'm looking at the fabric more closely, and it looks like the exact same fabric.
It probably is. It's probably the same shapewear fabric.
81% polyamide and 19% elastane. Which one do you have?
I have a couple of them. I have like the shorts ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have just like, I don't know, I really like her cotton underwear. I think it's hard to find like good cotton underwear these days, but like I do have the Spanx shorts. Definitely no cotton in there, but yeah.
Skims is so wild. I mean, kudos to Kim. She's clearly built a very successful brand. I mean, they were valued at over like $4 billion in 2023. Insane.
It's definitely gone up from there, but like out of all of her endeavors, she's tried so many different like side hustles. This is the most successful one by far.
I don't fully get it though, Jules. I also, I mean, truly. So I remember when it first came out and I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot, see what all the hype is about. I bought a t-shirt and then I bought the bodysuit. I bought 2 bodysuits just to try different ones. One was like a thong one and one was the shorts one. I didn't find it revolutionary. The t-shirt was nice. It was very fitted, very high elastane, very stretchy. The bodysuit looked like it could fit a baby. And I was like, how in God's name do people come in and out of this thing? Like it's a workout to put it on. I'm also not a person who normally wears shapewear, so I could just not be the demographic, but I don't really get it.
I mean, it's just elevated basics. And I think that's why it works well. And Kim wears them. So it's like proximity to Kardashians, I think is what people like. But there's so many dupes of it. And I mean, that's no surprise, but people, it's so easy to dupe things, especially in like the fabric category these days. So I think people just like it. You can replicate her outfits a lot easier if you know exactly what she's wearing. So I think that's why it's doing well. All right. And next with the drama has been one of my favorites because it is like petty, really petty, but it's the whole Skindinavia and Urban Decay fallout.
Oh my gosh. I am obsessed with this. And like, especially coming from us who are so nerdy about beauty and everything behind the scenes.
So the founder, Alan Goldman, has been taken to Instagram just to kind of air out all of the dirty laundry. But for Urban Decay, one of their best sellers has always been the all-nighter setting spray. It was like super revolutionary at the time. And it's a well-known fact that Skindinavia, Alan's company, makes the formula. They own the formula. And so every single bottle has always been produced in collaboration with Skindinavia. But now after, I think, was it 15 years of a partnership, Urban Decay just said, we're going in-house. We're going to make it ourselves. They are re-releasing all of the different setting sprays kind of with brand new packaging, saying that this one is better. It's got more advanced technology. And Alan was so pissed back in the day when they first started co-creating this product together. And Skindinavia does sell this product solo, right? Like you can buy it directly from them. But, back in the day when Urban Decay was an independently owned or like smaller brand, the partnership made total sense, right? Just like outsource something. But now they have all this L'Oreal money and access to L'Oreal's labs. So one of the things that Alan was talking about in his like Instagram, I think it was also a notes app, but like it was like, just like very free flowing. But he mentioned that like, what the heck are indie companies supposed to do? Like, how do indie companies survive when there's other brands like L'Oreal who just have endless budgets to do things themselves.
Yeah. And I think it should be noted also that Skindinavia is the one who owns the formula. So that's like a key part here. And what Urban Decay is doing by bringing things in-house is they can no longer use that formula. So they have to reformulate and put out a new product. And so part of their marketing is saying that this new formulation is so much better, et cetera, et cetera. I guess we'll see. But in terms of like for those indie brands, I think it's interesting because it's not only indie brands that use contract manufacturers, right? Or like work with outside labs or, perhaps not even own their formula for their product. A lot of big companies, brands that are owned by L'Oreal and Estee Lauder, they do this very frequently.
They definitely do. And I think so he did this sit down interview with a magazine and just retold the entire story top to bottom of working with Urban Decay. And he said, yes, in the beginning we were making it, but then eventually Urban Decay just had the recipe and they were making it themselves. And slowly there were hints over the years post-acquisition, right? After their acquisition by L'Oreal, there started to be hints, right? There would be fewer orders for the raw materials. There were just like certain things that didn't feel quite right, but he kind of made it sound like he was just totally blindsided at the end of the day. But I think that my favorite thing out of everything is so like on Urban Decay's Instagram, they have all these like flashy photos of the new setting sprays. And in the comment section, Skindinavia, and I'm pretty sure it's like Alan on the keyboard, but he's just like chiming in. He's like, wow, we're a little brand, we're a new brand. We don't know anything, but this product seems so cool. You say it's award winning, but it's brand new. What award did you win?
He's so petty. I love it.
I would be petty too. And
yeah.
I think it sounds like, he does have a very loyal following and a lot of support online. I think makeup artists always buy his product. They don't buy the Urban Decay setting spray because it's just a lot more expensive for the exact same thing.
Yeah. I'm going to be so curious to try the new setting spray and just see how it feels.
One of the things I found interesting was that they're talking about like this cooling technology that
I saw that. Yeah.
Right? That it lowers the temperature on the skin. And I've seen a couple other brands doing this lately, like Sophie Pavitt. They just relaunched their like cooling cryo mist. 111 Skin, they also have some like cryotherapy type of masks and other like a moisturizer that's supposed to like cool your skin down. I think that's going to be maybe the next big thing, like kind of trending in that direction.
It makes sense, right? Because it's like inflammation, all these other things that like buzzwords that people are talking about. Obviously, cooling, anything that's cooling is good for inflammatory skin, inflammatory responses. I'm just like, it's also kind of just nice to have. I don't know if it's necessarily needed, but
I mean, I need a setting spray because I get really, really oily. So if I don't set my makeup, it's just going to fall off. But
oh, no, not that like a setting spray. Like a setting spray is obviously very important. The cooling aspect. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's like a nice to have, not a must have.
For sure. And I feel like since there's already so much crap in the setting spray.
Yeah, exactly.
Do I need more chemicals on my face just to have like a refreshed feeling?
Yeah, for real. I know. Okay, guys. So the last piece of drama is between Glow and Poom. Two very small indie brands, but this is blowing them the fuck up and giving them kind of like the attention that they probably need and want.
So this is a perfect example of all press is good press because basically this founder of a Korean makeup company, Glow, she went to TikTok and she just is very anonymous. She didn't say who it was, but she said, I just hate that as a small brand, I see people copying me. There's one brand out there, not going to name names, but it's clear that she's stealing my branding. She's stealing my product. And, she just kind of went on this rant.
So I remember she pointed out a couple of things. She did point out the colors. She said that this other brand used the same colorways as her logo and branding, used the same little like star asterisk within their logo. And then there were a lot of things she was just naming and I was like, okay, well, it's beauty. We all kind of end up using the same color palettes and shit tends to look the same. But one of the things that she did point out, it was like, that I was like, okay, I'm kind of on board here with you, is she was saying that the other brand used the same sort of makeup sponge as her. And this is not a proprietary sponge, so I rolled my eyes at first, but then she showed the product photo of the other brand, and it was the makeup sponge, and it was being propped up with a makeup product, and the makeup product was the girl who was bitching. It was her product. So another brand used a competitor's product in their product photo. It just like was so crazy.
I know that was such a bad mistake on the Poom founder's part, but like she quickly went to TikTok and she acknowledged it immediately. And she made this like long video about saying like, this is why I created my brand. I wanted something for acne safe skin. I understand why the founder feels this way. You know, we both have similar products, but she did say like, you don't own this makeup sponge. It's a Korean makeup sponge. 1 million people make it. You can buy them in bulk on Alibaba. But she did cop to the fact that she used Glow's concealer in the background of her photo shoot. And that was like a huge mistake. But the crazy thing is that, you know, seemingly from what I could tell from the comment section is everybody took Poom's side. No one was really taking Glow's side in all of this, even though there was like a few pretty egregious things that she was doing.
I think what it came down to was that the Glow girl, I wouldn't call her frantic by any means. You know, she was visibly upset, but not even that upset. I actually thought she was quite measured. But in comparison to the Poom founder girl, the Poom girl spoke very softly. She was really calm. She was like, I'm so sorry. You know, it was, I think it was the tone of voice that made people.
And she's very cute. Right.
Yeah.
You know, like she just has that very like sweet looking innocent face. And it's not like she's a girl. Like she's not like a
No,
young
she's a
girl.
grown ass woman.
She's a mom. You know what I mean? But you know, she was just like extremely earnest. And so a lot of people were saying like, oh, it's giving mean girl energy. But at the same time, when I look at both of their brands, I don't think either of them are doing anything super revolutionary where it would be like, oh, you're stealing from me. Because both of them are using a shade of blue. You know, there's Summer Fridays. The blue is kind of grayish, so it even looks like Rhode a little bit. And like Rhode, Poom, Glow, Rare, Day, you know, like all of these things, like all of these beauty brands are now like monosyllabic. Do, there's another one, you know? So I just didn't really feel like she was copying her brand that much.
Yeah, I didn't think she was copying the brand really at all. Because if you look at the websites for each of these respective brands side by side, like minus the color, which again is a kind of generic color.
It's blue.
You can't own it. Pantone probably does. But if you look at their branding side by side, it's very different aesthetics, one. And then two, like, I don't know, if you're going to get mad at another brand for selling a similar product to you, like a skin tint or foundation, whatever, then you may as well be mad at every single effing brand because everyone these days probably does a skin tint or a foundation of some sort, right? Like some sort, if you're going to compare to a color cosmetics brand, the only thing I had Glow's back on was the fact that Poom used Glow's product in a product shot. That was just pure stupidity.
That was so dumb. And I think like the last thing I want to end on here is that I hated that it was like indie founder versus indie founder, because there have been instances of indie brands getting totally ripped off by big brands. And like that, I think it's very easy to take one person's side on that. Because do you remember Beauty Bakery?
Beauty Bakery. No, refresh my memory.
It was this cute little brand, you know, and it was really when like powder baking was getting super popular back in the day. And, you know, so they had like really cute products like baking powder, like everything was related to baking, you know, and Huda Beauty literally went in and kind of stole basically this other founder's photo shoot of doing a bunch of powders while wearing a cute like 1950s baking in the kitchen kind of vibe. And that to me was copying, and in a not cool way. Because even back in the day, like Huda's been big for a while now. So even though this happened years ago, you know, I would be so pissed if that happened to me.
Oh, girl, same. Because also that's not like necessarily IP. That's not stuff that you can protect legally. That's just a brief for a photo shoot where you have a concept for the creative, and that can be, you know, executed many different ways. But again, that's not something that you can protect. So when someone copies you, it's just so much more painful because all you can say is like, you copied me and point fingers, but there's no repercussions to copying.
It's like the beige lawsuit. Do you remember?
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just exactly like the beige lawsuit.
You stole my beige.
So crazy.
I don't know. But I think, you know, both brands are going to be kind of better off for it. Because as you mentioned, they were tiny. They're really small brands. And now both of them, you know, people are taking both founders' sides and they're gaining a lot of new followers, probably making a lot of new sales.
Yeah. I think when we last looked at their TikToks, I think pre this drama, they were maybe like almost at 10K-ish. And now they've bumped up to like 16, 17K. Like it's not huge, but that's pretty big growth for a small brand.
I would be ecstatic if that happened.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Get 5,000 followers in a week. Like for a small brand, that's amazing. That makes a huge difference.
One last thing, because we haven't been able to touch on this just yet, but it's not necessarily drama. It is just purely sad news. But the closing of Ami Colé, RIP.
That one was really like a bummer. But now that I'm thinking about every single drama story that we told, obviously minus the Skims, involved an indie brand or a small brand. And, I think they were in business for a solid 4 years. And the founder just went online. She sat down with, I forget which magazine, but basically just said, we just can't do it anymore. No one's buying our product.
Ami Colé launched in 2021 to really great reception in the beginning. I think within their first year or so, they closed about 2.5 million in revenue, which was great for a new indie brand that was really about diversity in beauty. Then they received investment from L'Oreal's Bold Fund in, I believe it was 2024. I think it was about $4 million that they got in terms of funding.
Mm-hmm.
I know it sounds crazy because I feel like for most people, they would think, oh, okay, so they got $4 million. Wow, that should really jumpstart things and help them grow. I mean, that growth investment is the reason why they landed in Sephora. It gave them the runway to produce and be able to enter all these Sephora stores. The fact that they're closing this year, and I think they slated to they're slated to close this September, it can be really mind-boggling to think even with money, a brand can still fail.
Yeah, and it's not just the money, because money aside, they also had the founder, Dari, she worked at Glossier for a really long time. And when she launched a brand, it was kind of after there was so much kind of social activism related to, the Black community in 2020, 2021. And it was kind of in a lot of response to that, right? She wanted to build the brand to address the gap in the market for deeper skin tones. And they were an instant celebrity hit. They had so much support from every Black celebrity saying I can't live without my Ami Colé stick. Oprah Winfrey, was touting that stick. But, 4 million can go so fast, especially in a Sephora. Because I guess let's first go over what can working with L'Oreal get you and what can 4 million get you. So starting off with the L'Oreal, what can they do? So they can open up so many doors, right? As a small brand, you might have a pretty good team, but they're going to help you just kind of elevate every single part of the business. So whether it's your marketing, hooking you up with better photographers, better creative directors, even things like SEO experts or people that are going to help you optimize your shipping and fulfillment processes. They can connect you with all of the best people in the industry to do that. They can help you with getting better labs, right? Improving just how you're actually putting the product, the product that goes into the bottle, or I guess it was a stick in this case, or iconic foundation stick. But they can help make that more efficient. They can get you into a Sephora, connect you to the right people. But at the end of the day, it opens all the doors you need, but walking through those doors costs so much money.
And beyond just opening those doors and perhaps even helping with their executive team and really putting good advisors behind them on their board, what it comes down to and what, the founder was saying is people weren't buying.
Yeah. And, just even existing in a Sephora is so crazy expensive because it's not they're just hey, find a spot, put your product wherever. You have to pay for everything. You have to pay for the location. You have to pay for the gondola. You have to pay for the marketing support, the training of the Sephora employees, how you work with Sephora Digital, right? I'm sure everyone gets those emails from Sephora saying oh, check out the brand of the week or the new product. None of that stuff is free. And just imagine one Sephora location and all the thousands of dollars that goes into building out that, storefront to every single location. I don't know how many locations they were in, but it could be that times hundreds, dozens, hundreds.
And even beyond Sephora, I think this is a big gripe for not just beauty, but for brands everywhere, and particularly for D2C brands. The marketing budgets these days and the budgets on digital spend is so bonkers. It's painful. How can anybody compete with anyone that isn't, I don't know, Dove? Someone with a big ass budget and big ass spend.
No, it's wild. It's what influencers are able to charge. Even people micro influencers is astronomical. And I think, it's not people, they won't even receive product for free anymore, right? They're not just going to be oh, sure, you can send it to me. There's a fee for everything. I know people that charge thousands and thousands of dollars for a story because they can and because people will pay them. But if you're an indie brand only with $4 million, like that's going to go really, really fast. Like a big influencer can easily charge 6 figures, you know, and you're going to want more than one, right? You're going to want more, like a couple of influencers at least. And then it's just going to, it's wild.
I feel like this is, what is that saying? It's kind of almost like a dog chasing its tail. It's like, okay, like to get more eyeballs, we need to spend more money, but everyone's spending more money. So now the amount of money that used to be normal for a marketing budget is now 10x that. And then who's going to survive? Only the people with buku bucks. Ugh, it's hard for indie brands, man.
Yeah, because I think, you know, yes, people love like the Selenas and the Haileys and, you know, the people like a Beyonce for Sacred, like celebrity-led brands, like they'll buy that. Like I'm positive Martha Stewart's line is going to knock it out of the park, right? But, you know, if you don't really have that cachet, right? Like it's harder to do. Because I know so many people that like, yes, Rare makes great products, but they buy Rare because they love Selena.
Exactly. All right, guys, that's a wrap for today. Just a reminder that we're on a new episode schedule. So we are every Monday and Thursday. You can tune in on Mondays to hear our chit chats, all things beauty, business, and beyond. And Thursdays are our interview episodes and our bro job episodes and more deep dives to come.
Bye.
Bye.